Over the summer, I asked my team to send me a short story about their journey with KYA. It was an open-ended question. I gave them very little guidance. And when the stories came in, I was astonished, because I read 7 versions of the exact same experience. It was honestly a little creepy. Each began with a shy, quiet kid or reluctant skeptic. Each stumbled upon KYA by chance or under the direction of a teacher or older friend. Most were scared to speak in front of an audience, played hangman in General Assembly, and didn't immediately fall in love. I read about how each found their passion and began to believe in their ability to make change. I read about how they learned to appreciate the value of service, the lessons that can be learned from helping others. I read about how they realized that there will come a time when it will be up to them to take it upon themselves to act. And then they did act. They brought their newly acquired knowledge back to their communities. They led service projects. They advocated for their beliefs. The fact that 7 people learned these same lessons and underwent the same personal growth shows that it was not a fluke. They did not become the wonderful, active, passionate people they are today by chance. There is something magical about the opportunity they were given and the opportunity you have now. Throughout this conference, you have interacted with people from all over the Commonwealth. You learned how to make friends quickly, how to construct an argument, how to see both sides of an issue. They then took it a step further. They took the initiative to take what they learned and internalize it in order to bring that knowledge back to their communities. And that's what's so inspiring about this. You can be wonderful and active and passionate too. All you have to do is care.
I can remember being scared in middle school, not because of the older kids, not fitting in, or being bullied, but I was afraid of falling into the cracks and not finding my place, just being a shadow in the hallways. I remember talking to my sister, who had always heard about the Y, but wasn't really sure what it was about and if it was right for me. She told me that I should look into it, and so I did, and that's when I found the Y. These conferences are not just a huge social gathering, but a place to be yourself. Create lifelong friendships while learning how to be an effective person in your school. But most importantly, the importance of initiative. Which brings up a valid point. Use this conference to become you. Make friendships. Although this is super cliche, it's the truth. The connections and memories that you make here are what got you as a person and a leader. So take that extra step and express your passion in your words or actions. Take initiative and find the beauty of connection into these conferences. In Carrie Anderson's 2014 TED Talks, she says, "The world is hungry. I truly believe in my firsthand experience, the world is hungry for us to unite together as leaders and opportunity makers. And to emulate those behaviors and to reimagine a world where we use our best talents together more often to accomplish something greater than we could do on our own. And all it takes is initiative." There was a governor who had intense initiative, so much that her leadership and her wonderful ideas are the reason that I'm up on this stage. I learned from her that I must take initiative and spark something within me. No one can do that but me. Being a leader is more than just a title, your actions, or your words, but simply having initiative and passion. My mother always says, "Nathan, could you please take initiative and mop the floors?" Cut out the part about floors being mopped, but when my mother tells me that, I realize that my mother, who is always right, is making initiative important, then it's probably important. So when you've been kicked down, or when you get lazy or tired, or you're not sure if you should take the next step, just remember, Maria said to take the initiative, add a pinch of passion to that, and you'll go a long way. And along the way, don't forget who you are.
Right now, I'm supposed to be reading off the script, but I just recently figured out that there's so much that I didn't include that I need to talk about, so here goes nothing. I want to take my jacket off. 8 months ago at Kuna, I stood up here, well, actually it was the Marriott, but I stood up at the Marriott and talked about compassion. This time, I'm speaking about the theme of initiative. And I make a point to say that at the beginning because part of me is afraid I'm not going to get my message across. You see, initiative is an introductory act or step, a leading action. And while the idea is pretty simple, it seems to be a hard thing for people to do or take, myself included. Now, the question is, why? Why do we have trouble with this very simple thing? Why do, my hands are so shaky. Why do a lot of us reject the idea of taking the first step? What makes us so hesitant? Of course, this doesn't apply to everyone, but for a lot of us, we decide not to take this initial step because we're afraid. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of looking stupid. Afraid of having confidence in ourselves. We all want to take initiative. We all want to stand up and say, hey, I'm going to try to impact something before it impacts me. But when we take the bull by the horns and are ready to rodeo, we end up lying in the dust as our chance to take the first step passes by. This happens to everyone, because we're all too afraid of what could go wrong. Knowing this, the question has changed to, how do I stop missing opportunities and start taking this action, this initiative? I mean, to be honest, we don't really have a strong motive. Somebody's going to step up and take action eventually. It doesn't have to be us. We can just sit back, stay in our comfort zone, and life will go on. Because honestly, a lot of the actions that we could take won't necessarily impact us later in life. Plus, every time one of us takes the first step, we take away the opportunity for someone else to do it. For someone else to gain confidence in their self and their ability through their initiative towards something. So the question is, why then should every single one of us take initiative? Why can't we just leave it to the leaders to do that? Well, we can, and we'll be fine in the end, but what about the situations we are in without the leaders? Those times when it's just you and a group of peers, all the people that you have looked up to solve the problems of life are gone. What do you do then when an issue arises and you have the solution, but don't have anyone to voice your ideas for you? You can just forget about it, let the issue continue. Or you can take the risk of taking that first step. Sure, you may end up failing at getting your message across or experience a variety of bad outcomes. But on the other hand, maybe your actions will mean something, in some way or another inspire somebody. And maybe the person you inspire with your proactivity will want to follow in your footsteps and view you the same way you view the people that inspired you. The world is a continuous cycle of people who are unsure of themselves. They gain confidence, though, by looking at the people who take initiative in any situation. And when they become leaders, they realize there's not anything special about the people that came before them. They only appeared that way because they needed to inspire others, so that the process of people feeling obligated to take that first step would continue. I don't like to generalize, but I can say as a fact that none of us on this stage right now are always confident. In fact, a lot of times I personally feel like my accomplishments amount to nothing. But the reason that we're up here is because even though we were unsure of what would happen, we took these first steps anyway, expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. You can live your entire life without taking risks, without taking initiative, and no one would blame you. That sounds like a nice way to live, but in order for the people that come after us to be inspired and not live pointless, uneventful lives, or in order for them to instead have a purpose and do something great, we as people need to take the first step to inspire others to do the same. I don't guarantee that your initiative will be worth the risk. I can guarantee, though, that there is a chance that your first step can become a big leap in the right direction.
You know, sometimes those first steps, they can change your life. You've already taken the first half of the first step by coming here to KYA. the largest youth and government assembly in the nation. But to follow it through, you need to commit to living like you're at a white conference, even when you're not at a white conference. And I don't mean singing songs or eating lots of junk food or getting no sleep. I mean voicing your opinion with confidence and informing yourself on relevant issues and dedicating yourself to the betterment of our Commonwealth. It doesn't matter where you start, who you are, how smart you are, how much money you have, or what talents you have. All that matters is really just what you have inside. And you never know which relationship, which door, which opportunity will fill your life with people and memories that you'll forever cherish.
If you're still not convinced, allow me to give you an example. We have a mutual friend. This friend went to school irregularly growing up, and most of his knowledge came from the books that he read. He didn't attend college, he worked small jobs on and off. Then our friend decided to run for president. He wasn't elected, so he decided to go for the Illinois legislature. He began studying law and became a successful lawyer. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. Finally, he ran for the highest executive U.S. office and was elected as the 16th President of the United States. If you haven't guessed already, this mutual friend of ours is Abraham Lincoln. He wasn't given the opportunity of an extensive formal education, so he educated himself, borrowing any books he could get his hands on when his father's supply ran out. Lincoln went from being a licensed bartender to the President of the United States. As president, he emancipated slaves and stuck by the Union in difficult and polarizing decisions which laid the foundation for a uniquely equitable society. He took the initiative to give himself an education, to become a lawyer, to better our country through legislation, and ultimately to save an entire population from dehumanization. He is proof that time doesn't change things, people change things.
Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things that you once thought that you couldn't do. Keep taking action and keep learning from your mistakes, because one day you will find that everything will be within your reach.
So we ask you to think of something. Take a stand for something, or believe in something. Take this unique idea and act on it. Be a leader, inspire others to act alongside you. Start an initiative. Maybe like Michelle Obama, you believe in giving girls access to education across the world. Then move. Move to start a book drive so you can send books to girls in impoverished villages in Africa. Raise awareness in your schools, cities, counties, and more. Initiative means taking action. Without it, we will stop progressing as a society. Improvement will cease to exist, and the betterment of mankind will become obsolete. Take the initiative to act, because someone, somewhere, needs you to be fighting for them. Our generation has been labeled the lazy generation, and it is our time to prove them wrong. We are the generation that will stand up against the injustices and shortfalls happening all across this state, nation, and world. We can be a generation that is selfless, unified in love and compassion, tolerant and progressive, if we take the initiative to do so.
We need people like you to be a force of change in our state. We need you to work proactively and start acting on your passions. We know you're here for a reason. The reason may be to miss school, and hopefully it is to make a difference. Either way, this conference is only a few days long, but it is not ordinary. You had to make the effort to be here. Something had to be given up, and some work had to be done. We hope you continue to take initiative back home, to involve yourself in your community. Because if you, the youth of Kentucky, are not involved, then who will be?
Taking initiative is a bit like walking down the stairs in the dark. You reach out your foot, and you don't know where, or when, or if it's going to find solid ground. You are afraid of getting hurt, falling, or looking silly. That's what we risk when we take on a task without guidance, when we push ourselves to do something we've never done before. We risk failure. We risk ridicule. But all of humanity's greatest accomplishments started with an idea and a willingness to act on that idea, to take a risk. There would be no Apple, no Ford, no Kentucky YMCA, no America without initiative. What if our founding fathers limited their theories about democracy to hypothetical discussions? What if Abraham Lincoln just decided to let the southern United States go? What if Barack Obama never gathered the courage to speak in front of an audience when he was our age? I could sit here and rattle off what ifs for the rest of the night, but I think you get the point. When confronted with the unknown, you might feel like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. But think about it this way. Below the mist either lies success and innovation, or people willing to catch you when you fall. People who make changes are those who are brave enough to jump. You might make mistakes, and that's okay. As Hannah Montana always says, nobody's perfect. So don't be your own barrier. Try.
I challenge you to stop asking why and to stop dragging your feet. When confronted with a problem, I challenge you to ask yourself, if I don't act, who will? Politics, social justice, education policy, societal improvement, all of these are issues that affect you, either directly or indirectly. Don't wait for other people to make decisions for you. Don't tell yourself that what you have to say isn't important anyways. Don't be an extra in your own life's play. Tonight you've heard your officers tell you to be brave, to believe in yourself, to define the world before it defines you. Look at where they're standing right now, on the stage, leading the spectacular conference, convincing you of the importance of the very same skill that allowed them this opportunity. And I will vouch for everything they've said. We ask you to take initiative because initiative is all it takes. Yes, taking the stairs at night is scary, but when you do it often, you grow used to that fleeting moment of panic before your foot finds the next step. And pretty soon, you'll be a pro.